Alright, what's going on? Welcome back to another video. Now today's video, as you can see by the title and the thumbnail, we're doing Obito Uchiha versus Itachi Uchiha. Now, I've done videos on basically all the top 3 members of the Akatsuki, Obito versus Pain, Pain versus Itachi. If you haven't watched any of those, I advise you to go watch those, come back to this one. So, it's better that I go ahead and wrap this series up with Obito versus Itachi. This is a very heated debate I see a lot of the time in the Naruto community. I've already kind of stated how I feel on it, but of course, I always like to go into reasonings and give more thorough points. So with all that out the way, before we get into the video, if you're new to the channel, you've been watching for quite some time, and you haven't went down there and hit the subscribe button, I would really appreciate it if you could, so it can help the channel grow to our next sub goal of 200 subs. But with that out the way, let's get straight into the video. Alright, so to start off the fight, I want to break down both fighters in both of their respective aspects, being whether that's with their moves, speed, intelligence, and any type of hacks that both of them will have, which in this case, both characters do have some pretty nice hacks in their bags. So basically, starting off with Obito Uchiha, we all know that Obito at 14 years old was able to awaken his Mangekyo Sharingan. Actually, the same went for Itachi Uchiha, who joined the Akatsuki at 14, which was around the time that he did the Uchiha massacre and gained his Mangekyo Sharingan as well. The only difference is Obito is now like 32, where the story is he's around the same age as Kakashi, which I think was stated as to be 32 or 33. I can't remember which one right off the top of my head, but he's somewhere around there. So the leap from 14 to 32, 33, whichever one you want to go for, we'll just call it 32 in this video, is a very significant margin, if we will say so ourselves. So that definitely is a lot more years than Itachi's, jumping from 14 to 21. So in that respective aspect, Obito, even with only one Mangekyo Sharingan, should have a slight advantage when it comes to usage and just flat out all around just better. I don't know really what you want to call it. A more advanced user of the Sharingan, let's say that. We all know Itachi is held at a high pedestal for his Sharingan usage, but we all know that Obito should be better at it realistically, considering the fact that he's used it for almost 20 years longer. Not even 20 years longer, just 20 years, compared to Itachi's, which is about 7 years. So in that respective aspect, like I said, Obito should be better with the Sharingan. Now Obito, in his own right, he has arguably, in my opinion, the most broken Sharingan ability, being the Kamui. Now luckily, Obito gave Kakashi the, let's not say trash eye, but definitely the worst one. He gave him the eye that only sucks up things from a far distance. Luckily, he got stuck with the one that makes him intangible, and he can also go into the Kamui dimension as he wants to, which Kakashi's eye can too. But the intangible part is the real big factor here. Obito's ability to become intangible is a very good ability, nonetheless, for no matter who has it. Just so happenly, it falls in Obito's hands with his Mangekyo Sharingan, and the fact that he can return intangible and just phase through almost anything shows that no matter what Itachi throws, Obito always does have that in his bag, just in case he does get caught off guard. He always is quick enough to go intangible, because as we've seen in the war arc, when he was about to pin down Naruto and suck him into the Kamui dimension, he was quick enough to react to a 6-gate guy, really coming up straight behind him, blindsiding him and straight up kicking him, and he was still able to go intangible just before guy's kick was able to hit him. So that just shows off. Granted, that was with the Rinnegan, but I don't think that really amps anything like that too much. But it definitely could. I take that back, because he did have his 6-tail beast behind him, so one of them definitely could have notified him. So I mean, but if not, then you still could take that into part, how quick his reaction time is when he goes to going into the Kamui dimension. So basically, also, Obito is a user of wood style and fire style for the most part that we know. He has Hashirama cells in him, so of course he can use the wood style like I just stated, and he also has ridiculously regeneration, especially as we can see later on in the war arc. Obito has amazing regeneration. He was able to survive with a stab wound really through the heart for quite some time. So yes, even after Zetsu reattached to his body, he was still latching on. Obito honestly has really amazing durability, and as Obito as a fighter, he's relatively pretty quick. He was able to go into Inoki's particle style jutsu, teleport Sasuke out of there and himself out of harm's way before any of the other Kage in the room were able to notice what had happened. So that just shows, a slight speed feat for Obito. He is definitely a very fast shinobi in his own right. Now, for Itachi, on the other hand, we all know about Itachi himself, Mr. Well-known Genjutsu. We know Itachi has all of his different tricky Genjutsus, whether it's the finger one, or it's Tsukuyomi, or it's a base Sharingan Genjutsu. Itachi is a master of them all. We all know Itachi is very styled in fire style jutsu, and he is very good with shuriken, so he even implements his own fire style shuriken jutsu. So, and we also know with Itachi's Mangekyo Sharingan comes in one eye Tsukuyomi, which I just stated, and Amaterasu in the other eye. And Amaterasu, while in any other fight should be relatively effective, sadly in this one it won't be the most effective because it's what I stated earlier with Obito and his intangibility. Obito will be relatively fast enough to react to Amaterasu, as we seen when it caught him off guard. Granted, like I said, it was a lot easier for him to get out of it right then and there. And honestly, you can honestly argue it wasn't. It was actually more of a surprise than what anything Itachi could have did in a regular fight himself, because it just caught him completely off guard while he was just absolutely chilling. And he still was able to get out of the way of Amaterasu just by easily intangible himself. So, Obito definitely can get out of Amaterasu, as we have seen. So Amaterasu sadly won't be the biggest thing in this fight for him, but we also know Itachi has a Susanoo, only a half body Susanoo, but nonetheless a Susanoo with the Yaramir and the Tosca Blade. The Yaramir being a shield that can block almost anything in the series, as we can see for the most part of what we've been told. We don't fully know if it has around like 360 protection, which I've stated in the, I want to say, the Minato versus Itachi video, or it was the one of the Itachi videos I posted. I stated that if someone was to go behind Itachi and hit him with something, it should go through, because the shield shouldn't be there unless the shield goes along with Itachi's body. So if he makes the turnaround, the shield jumps in front of him, which I truly didn't believe it did. So I just went ahead and said, it would take a little bit of time before the shield can get back where Itachi is. So if somebody was to get behind him and sneak attack him with a move, it shouldn't, the shield shouldn't be there. Let's say that. So yeah, Itachi does, his Susanoo is definitely going to help him out a lot, but the shield aspect, Obito, I do feel like is a tad bit faster than Itachi. So I do feel like he would be able to get behind the Susanoo, but we'll save that topic a little bit for a little bit later. So going into the Tosca Blade, sadly the Tosca Blade is kind of like a Amaterasu in this situation, depending on how fast you want to say the Tosca Blade truly is. If you think the Tosca Blade is, faster than the Amaterasu, or depending on who you're talking to, how fast it is, it definitely, I honestly can't say if it's like so fast that it will catch Obito, because it did catch Nagato off guard. I've stated this in multiple videos in the past. Granted, Nagato did have a smoke screen in his way and nonetheless did catch him off guard, which, I do still think Obito is faster than Nagato, so in his situation he should be fine and he should be able to dodge it. But the simple fact is, it still caught a high level ninja like Nagato himself off guard. So if it is able to catch Obito off guard, which I find it hard to believe, then sure, Itachi will win, because he will seal him away in the Tosca Blade. But you also could make a reasoning that even if it does stab him, he may still be able to go intangible, because Amaterasu was on him and he went intangible and it broke free. Granted, I believe he might have had his cape on when it happened, so he just took the cape off, or it got on his mask or something along those lines. I remember the moment, I just can't remember what exactly it hit, or it might have just hit his body with no cape on and he just used the Amaterasu, not Amaterasu, but he used Kamui and just phased through it all and it just fell off, or something along those lines. So if that's the case and he can, go intangible while he's being stabbed by the Tosca Blade, if it happens, then maybe he'll get out of that situation. I don't know if he can. I don't really want to push it that far, honestly. That's definitely for another time to go that head Kennedy in there. So we'll just leave that the fact that if he does get hit with the Tosca Blade, he will probably lose. Now, I know you probably want me to talk on this, the Genjutsu aspect of the story. Now, what was stated by, I want to say, Itachi himself, was the simple fact to deal with a Mangekyo Sharingan user. The easiest way to equal him out is another Mangekyo Sharingan user. And I think that also goes along with Genjutsu, is, if I remember correctly by what he was saying. So with Obito having a lot of Genjutsu experience, actually, if you ask me, Obito has one of, if not the most impressive Genjutsu feat outside of something as big as like the Infinite Tsukuyomi, considering the fact that it was held almighty that a Jinchuriki cannot be put in a Genjutsu. As user, the Jinchuriki will wake up the user. So the fact that Obito was able to control the fourth Mizukage like an absolute puppet, and he was a perfect Jinchuriki, not anything like what Naruto was. He was a complete perfect Jinchuriki, just like Killer Bee, who we later saw got put under a Genjutsu by Itachi. Granted, it was a base Genjutsu. He was also, Yuki was able to knock him out of that. Now, I don't think Kamui has any special Genjutsus, so you could say that this was just honestly a regular Sharingan Genjutsu that was able to start controlling this man. And so Yagura was literally controlled by a puppet. Obito was able to completely affect the Mist Village in the way it was seen across the ninja world, just because of how well and how crazy he was controlling him. And that goes the same as well for the Nine Tail. When he used the Genjutsu on the Nine Tail, he controlled the Nine Tails perfectly. He only lost control when Minato stole the control away from him and sealed it all away. So yes, Obito's Genjutsu is definitely not nothing to play with. So honestly, I don't think Genjutsu would be the biggest part in this. Now, Obito, of course, knowing more about Itachi than Itachi will know about him, he will probably know about Tsukuyomi, considering the fact that he's been with Itachi for quite some time. He knows a lot more about him. So, knowing this, he probably will not try and look in Itachi's eyes. He will not fall for Tsukuyomi. A Matarasu probably won't be the best thing for, Itachi to use unless he wants to completely drain all of his chakra. And so basically, now you're just stuck with Itachi really trying to give it his all at this point in the fight, while Obito is just completely going intangible left and right. And ultimately, if we're talking about the series Itachi, because to be honest with you, I apologize for not mentioning this earlier, but I never did specify specific Obito, and that's mainly because I didn't really care which Obito we used, because all of them serve for the same purpose. Whether it's Orange Mask, who I was actually talking about more so, whether it's the 14-year-old Obito, I definitely don't think we need to go into Rinnegan Obito. So it's really between 14-year-old Obito versus the Orange Mask Obito, and I, for Itachi's sake, didn't use the 14-year-old Obito, so I was more so talking about the Orange Mask Obito. And like I was about to say, if we're gonna speak on a live, just regular Itachi, if he goes in a fight even against Orange Mask Obito and he starts using, his Susanoo, trying to stab him with the Tosca Blade, or he starts trying to get off of Matarasu, he's gonna run out of chakra, and ultimately that's gonna be his downfall. And so also for Itachi to even have a chance, he would of course need to be healthy. And even then, it's really hard for you to give Itachi a clear-cut chance in this fight, because the simple fact is, Itachi, number one, isn't as fast as Obito, and that is one thing Itachi could, if he was as fast as Obito or even faster than Obito, he would have a better chance in this fight, because we know the easiest way to break Obito's Kamui without having, someone like Kakashi there is to simply probably be faster than him, as we've seen with Minato. Minato was able to break through Obito's, Kamui, because he was just flat out faster than him. But at the same time, there aren't many ninja who are as fast as Minato, so that's going to be very hard to come around. And so, with Itachi not being that fast, Kamui is a lot to deal with in this situation. And the simple fact that even if Itachi does land a devastating blow with, I don't really want to know. I don't really know, because Itachi doesn't really have, a lot of just huge one-shot moves, besides the ones that he have are direct, just Obito is a direct counter to. Tosca Blade, he can phase through it probably. As we can see, he can phase through a Matarasu. Tsukuyomi, he knows Itachi too well to fall for that. So it's very hard for Itachi to come out on top in this fight. So I definitely will have to give this fight to my good friend Obito Uchiha. And this is sad, because I'm gonna be honest, I don't remember. I've recorded probably by this point 4 or 5 Itachi versus battle videos, maybe a little bit less, maybe 3 or 4, one of the two. It's anywhere between 3 and 5. And I don't remember Itachi being a clear cut winner without me having to add some extra stipulations into him, because he took the L to, I want to say it was the Minato video. He took an L to, this video. He took an L to Madara, and in the Pain video, I just had to throw him a bone and give him the healthy aspect, which most people would give him. So I don't really want to say that's creating special stipulations for Itachi, because if you're gonna debate him, for the most part, you're gonna want him to be healthy, or you're not gonna have the best fight possible. But like I said in that fight, even if Itachi was sick still, he would also lose the Pain. So without me adding any type of thing to Itachi, he is really 0-4 on the channel, and that really sucks because I do love Itachi, I really do. Even with the most overrated character video, I've already explained why I feel that way about him, but I still do love Itachi as a character, and hopefully I can find a versus battle where maybe Itachi can come out on top. But with all that out the way, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please be sure to leave a like and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.